He had $2.5 million, and then in 6 months, he had nothing. Not a small loss, not a setback, nothing. The business gone, the cars taken away. The warehouse he bought with a huge loan is now empty, except for him, standing in the middle of it, wondering how this happened. And the craziest part? He was brilliant. This was not a dumb guy. This was someone who built something extraordinary from nothing. He turned a $50,000 a year side hustle into a $2.5 million business in just 18 months. Most people work their entire lives and never see that kind of money. So how does someone that smart lose everything? That question kept me up at night, because when I looked into it, I realized his story is not unique. The same thing has happened to some of the most gifted financial minds in history. Smart people, talented people. People who deserve their success, and they all made the same mistake. Hey, my name is Jack, and I want to be real with you for a second. I spend a lot of time studying why some people build wealth that actually lasts, and why others, even incredibly talented ones, watch it all disappear almost overnight. Today, I want to show you the one thing that separates those two groups. It's not intelligence, it's not luck, it's not even hard work. It's something most people never think about, and by the end of this video, you'll never look at money the same way again. Let's get into it. There's a book called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, and there's a story in it that completely changed how I think about wealth. It's about two men. October 1929. The biggest stock market crash in history. The first man is Jesse Livermore. He was the best stock trader of his time, so good that by age 30, he was worth the modern equivalent of $100 million. When the crash happened in 1929, Livermore had bet the market would fall. So when everyone else was losing everything, Livermore made more than $3 billion in a single day. His wife was at home crying, thinking they were ruined. He walked in and said, "We're not ruined. We just had the best day of our lives." The second man is Abraham Germansky. He was a millionaire too, a real estate developer who had made a fortune in the boom years. But when the crash hit, he lost it all. He was seen wandering near Wall Street, tearing ticker tape into tiny pieces and dropping them on the ground. Nobody ever saw him again. Two very different stories, right? Here's the part that changes everything. 4 years after his biggest win, Jesse Livermore was broke. After making $3 billion, he felt unstoppable. So he started making bigger and bigger bets. He borrowed more money. He took more risks. And slowly, then all at once, he lost everything. The man who was one of the richest people on earth ended up with nothing. Livermore and Germansky. Two completely different journeys, but the same ending. And Morgan Housel's point is simple but devastating. Both of them were great at getting wealthy. Neither of them knew how to stay wealthy. Now think about our e-commerce guy for a second. Same story, different century. When the money started pouring in, he felt exactly what Livermore felt. Invincible. Like he had figured it out. So he signed a lease on not one, but 2 luxury cars. He took out massive loans to buy a warehouse. He started giving his friends money to fund their business ideas, the kind of ideas that only sound good when you feel too rich to think carefully. He had no safety net, no backup plan, no quiet voice in his head saying, "What if this stops?" And then 2022 hit. The market slowed down. His revenue dropped 70%. And because he had no cushion, no margin of safety, as Housel calls it, the whole thing collapsed in 6 months. But here's the thing that really gets me. He wasn't wrong to be confident. Being aggressive, fast, and optimistic is exactly what built his business. The problem is, the skills that help you get wealthy are almost the opposite of the skills that help you stay wealthy. Getting wealthy needs boldness, speed, and big bets. Staying wealthy needs patience, humility, and the quiet fear of losing what you have. Most people only ever practice the first one. Now, let me tell you about the most boring person in this entire story. He was a software engineer. worked at a big tech company in the Bay Area for 15 years. While all his colleagues were buying rental properties, trading crypto, doing everything they could to squeeze maximum returns out of every dollar, he did something that made everyone around him roll their eyes. He kept 20% of his money in cash, just sitting there, doing almost nothing. His friends laughed. They told him he was basically throwing away 9% every year by not investing it, and mathematically, they weren't wrong. But then 2022 happened. The tech market crashed hard. His friends started getting margin calls, which basically means the bank calls you and says, "Pay us back right now," or "We're selling everything you own." Some of them had to sell their houses at a loss. Some of them were wiped out. And this guy, he just sat there, calm, untouched. And then while everyone else was panicking, he started buying stocks at the lowest prices in years. Housel talks about Warren Buffett in the book, and this is where it gets really interesting. People spend years trying to figure out Buffett's secret. Which stocks did he pick? What did he see that nobody else saw? But Housel says the real secret isn't what Buffett did. It's what he didn't do. He didn't borrow huge amounts of money to invest. He didn't panic and sell when markets crashed, and he lived through 14 crashes. He didn't burn out and quit. He survived. And survival, staying in the game consistently from age 10 all the way past age 89, is what let compounding do something almost magical with his money. There's also a guy named Guerin. Most people have never heard of him. But 40 years ago, he was in the same investing group as Buffett and Charlie Munger. Just as smart. Same opportunities, same circle. But Rick was in a hurry. He borrowed money to invest, which is called margin loans. And in the 1973 to 74 market crash, when stocks fell almost 70%, Rick got margin calls. He was forced to sell his Berkshire Hathaway shares to Warren Buffett at under $40 each, just to pay his debt. Same intelligence, same starting point, completely different ending. Because Rick couldn't survive the crash, and Warren could. Nassim Taleb, one of the smartest thinkers on risk, said it simply: having an edge and surviving are two different things. You need to avoid ruin at all costs. So here's the one thing I want you to remember from this video. Stop asking, what is the best possible return I can get? Start asking, can my plan survive the worst possible thing that could happen? That's it. That is the entire mental shift. The boring tech engineer was no less ambitious than his friends. He was playing a smarter game. He understood that building real wealth isn't about having the best single year. It's about never having a year that wipes out all the other years. Compounding doesn't need huge returns. It just needs never to be interrupted. An oak tree doesn't grow by exploding upward. It grows by simply refusing to stop. The e-commerce guy is rebuilding now. Slower, more careful. He wrote about it once, and the line I can't stop thinking about is this. He said he made one mistake that cost him everything. He confused the wave with his skill. The market was going up, money was flowing. Everything he touched turned to gold. And he thought that was him. He thought that was permanent. He thought getting rich had proven something about him that would always be true. It hadn't. It was a wave. And waves end. The real skill, the one that actually matters, is not riding the wave loudly. It's surviving when it stops. Michael Moritz runs Sequoia Capital, one of the most successful investment firms in history. They've been at the top for over 40 years while hundreds of competitors have come and gone. Charlie Rose once asked him, "What's the secret?" He didn't say brilliant strategy. He didn't say great instincts. He said, "I think we've always been afraid of going out of business." Fear. Smart, productive fear. The kind that keeps you humble even when everything is going perfectly. Jesse Livermore had the talent. He had the skill. He had the luck. He just didn't have that fear. And it destroyed him twice. The boring tech lead, he'll never go viral. He'll never have a crazy success story to tell at a party. But right now, while some of his old colleagues are still recovering from 2022, His money is quietly growing. His options are open, and he can sleep at night. Sometimes the best financial story is the one with no drama at all. The best result isn't always the biggest number. Sometimes it's just the number that's still there. If this changed how you think about money, you already know what to do. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.